The following is a fan-based discussion. All materials discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, Saban Entertainment, and Tsuburaya Productions.
Hello, everyone!
Welcome back to Tokucast Reviews!
Yes, it's been a little bit after our postponement for various reasons.
I was dying.
Yeah, RP.
Sorry, I had a fever of 101.
RP and this. But yeah, welcome to Den-O month. Technically, it's about 3 weeks and then one more. But yeah, welcome to Den-O month. I'm lost on what episode number this is. But yeah, I'm excited to do this. It's been a little bit since we've had a full month.
53.
50 trace. But yeah, it's been a little bit since we've had a full month of a show. Since Deka Ranger. It'll be a little bit shorter on the next one. Because W.
We're doing W month?
More or less.
Okay. Because I thought our next month wasn't until Gaim, and we can get a month out of Gaim easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, movies galore. And then XA month. Movies galore. But yes, welcome everyone to Kamen Rider Den-O month. Let's go ahead and start off where we usually do. With the opening.
It's not terrible.
I like it. It's
okay.
excitable.
I didn't watch it every time, but
I didn't either. But then I usually end up marathoning a lot of these, so I'm just like,
I don't have time for this.
Cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, Den-O.
Let's start with the first scene we get. Our lead on a bike in a tree.
And I love how it's not even that. You just see a construction worker looking up with the ladder. And just walking. It's like, oh my god, are you okay?
No, he's like, are you okay? Yeah. How did you get up there?
I don't really know. But welcome to our main character, Ryotaro Nogami, played by Takeru Sato. He's the whole reason we have a month in this case.
And because we just really want to review the Rurouni Kenshin movies.
It's also very true. But yeah, he has extremely bad luck. As you can see by him immediately getting thrown into a tree somehow. And then
you get to see what happens, and it's hysterical. It's like, it's Final Destination.
Tell your tongue to get ready before you start talking next time. Final Destination type S situation where he somehow gets into a tree. And then he ends up getting beaten up by some bullies. One of them who ends up getting possessed by an Imagine, who are the monsters of this one. They're monsters from the future. So, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Timey-wimey?
It's a combination of the two words.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey bullshit.
Yeah, it's sort of a mess. And that does end up providing a mess later on in this show because they
it still does better than Super Dino Charge. Sure. Dino Supercharge.
But the way that the Imagines work, they basically end up going back and trying to, they possess people, provide them a wish, and once that wish is fulfilled, they can go back to an important event in that person's history and just start destroying
via a portal in their body.
Yeah. And just start destroying
Interpret that the way you want it to.
Now, Ryotaro Nogami also has a sister, Airi, and she has a league of extraordinary desperate men following her.
A league of extraordinary desperate men.
Yes.
That was great. I applaud that.
Following her. And there are only two that really end up standing out of the show for basically an obvious reason. But I do enjoy those two. Ozaki and Miura. And weirdly enough, let me make sure that I have the right one up. Okay, so it's Ozaki. This guy, I kept thinking he was related to John from Deka Ranger somehow because they look very, very similar and they were both going on at the same time. So I'm just I kept thinking it was John and I got so confused for the first little bit, especially because they have sort of similar, exuberant personalities, but they're not.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, his sister, Airi, owns the Milk Dipper. And there's a telescope here that we do end up focusing on for the next few episodes. And, going through the rest of episode 1, here I come, Ore Sanju.
Get used to hearing that.
It happens always. But Ryotaro is what they call a singularity point. And this girl, named Hana, has dropped a train pass just somewhere randomly out in the city.
As you do, because you're like Ryuk from Death Note. I'm bored.
Yeah. And this is based on time travel, and the way they do that is by use of a train, the Den Liner. And Hana lives on this train, and
As you do.
we end up finding out that she is also a singularity point, but from I guess a destroyed timeline.
Yeah.
But in the first episode, Ryotaro, after one of the bullies ends up getting possessed by a bat Imogen who wants like this little bell trinket that his mother gave him on her deathbed.
Right.
Ryotaro ends up getting possessed by Imogen himself.
Dun, dun, dun.
This Imogen is named Momotaros. And we also end up getting, we're just going to skip around a little bit in the first episode because he wants him to give him a wish, and Ryotaro is just like, I'm going to run away now. And then he does. And I love how, like, the Imogens, once they, like, start to, like, fully form, they, like, come out in dust.
Yeah.
Or I guess the sands of time in the people, which
Yeah.
makes sense. The Den-liner is in a desert. And he ends up picking up the past, and we end up getting to see his platform, but that's not the one we're going to focus on. And,
because you never actually really see it.
Yeah. I mean, we end up getting to see it, like, for the first couple episodes when he tried to teach them a lesson.
Also, nice play on words, the name. Platform.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we end up getting to see the actual main form for the show, and the one that's in all the media. Sword form after he presses that first button and Momotaro decides to fight for him because if Ryotaro dies by the bat Imogen, he dies too. Also, once again, we're back to the bat being the first one because that's a Kamen Rider thing.
Yep.
But yeah,
So
let's talk about sword form.
It's alright.
I quite like how it comes on.
Yeah, with the it's a train riding the track on his face.
Yeah.
Which that is cool, but once it's formed, I kind of hate it from the neck up.
Really?
The eyes are a bit weird for me.
It's a peach because Momo is peach.
That's stupid.
It's
It's a peach with antenna because stupid.
And Kamen Rider. And Ryotaro is the one who ends up naming the
Imagine.
Imogens that come with him. So the first one's name is Momotaro's. And I love, once again, Takeru Sato is like literally the best thing about this show. Because once he ends up getting possessed by one of the Imogens, he ends up taking on he has to play the Imogen as himself, but as them. And I'm sitting here like, you're the greatest actor this show ever gave us. Because
Too bad you weren't in a better show.
I like Den-O.
Eh.
To a point.
I like my shows to have plot.
But we'll talk about that in a second. But yeah. I also like his finisher.
Oh yeah, where the blade pops off?
Yeah.
That's
I think it looks great. And we're going to skip around a little bit over the first couple episodes.
Oh, you're gonna go over his finishing catchphrase? Climax?
Oh yeah. He is always at a climax.
Anyway.
But I also love how his finishers are legitimately just the same thing over and over again, but he keeps naming like part 1, part 2, part 5. You gotta skip 4.
And 3, apparently.
Yeah. It's all complete and utter bullshit. And I love Momotaro's because he is comedy. Now, the images in at least Ryotaro's ones on the Den-liner end up having a physical form.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also on Ryotaro's ticket. So that's how they actually get to stay
on the train
itself. As I said, we're going to end up skipping around a lot, but on the first couple episodes, we actually end up getting some past and future Sentai and Kamen Rider actors.
Yeah.
In episode 3 and 4, where Momotaro decides to help this thief, the thief is Sid from Guy.
Nice.
And in episode 5 and 6, the lady that we're going to talk about the second image in a second, the lady is the other news girl from Ryuki and Smart Lady from Thighs.
Oh, yeah.
And in episode 5 as well, we also end up getting introduced to another Imogen. Technically 2, but we're going to talk about the second one later.
Right now we're going to talk about the blue one.
Urataros is a ladies' man, and he's super smooth. And
he loves to fish.
Yes. Orewa wasurete miru. But I love how Ryotaro ends up having to play him. And also the fact that, there is a distinction between who is who, because once Ryotaro ends up possessing him, he uses glasses and a blue streak.
Yeah, he gets a colored streak in his hair to help people know who's who.
Yeah. And also when Momotaro possesses him, he's almost always wearing long sleeve shirts.
And his hair is always back.
And the fact that his muscles get bigger.
Oh, yeah.
I love just little things like that where they end up paying attention. And I love the dynamic between Urotaro's and Momotaro's because Momotaro
hate each other.
Hates him. Urotaro's just thinks he's hilarious. It's the funniest thing. And as I said, we're going to end up skipping over a lot in the first couple episodes. But
because this show is very week by week.
Yeah, this one really... this is one of the biggest problems I have with this. Victims of the week. They are a thing in this show.
They are bountiful.
Also, since episode 1, the first time, because the Imogen almost always ends up going back into the past of the person that they end up possessing. So they end up having to take the den liner. Also, I don't like this bike because it's a fucking dirt bike and I hate dirt bikes. But there's this guy who's always around who's looking at it in a trench coat and he has a stopwatch. And he's always looking at the watch. And then he just walks away. We also end up getting to meet, in the first couple episodes, Owner.
Who is the best.
Who is the greatest character in this show.
It's Marcus if he was in Kamen Rider.
It's true.
The attendant.
The attendant, who is Mana from Agito.
Oh.
Yes. She is a much better character in this because the story does not focus on her. Fight me. Naomi, that's her name. She is honestly hilarious because
she's pretty fucking funny.
She does a lot of things in the background with a character who comes up later on that's just honestly hilarious. But yeah, we end up getting to meet these people. Also, the guy in the trench coat, we're gonna call him Past Man for right now. He's like Bible Man, but he doesn't. Terrible.
Anyway.
Episode 9, we end up getting to meet the third Imogen. Honestly, my least favorite out of the bunch. Kintaros, who is based on a bear. Also, the train, after they end up beating the Imogen in the past, it ends up transforming into a giant monster.
Oh, yeah.
And the train ends up having to fight this thing.
Train's got guns.
The train, Momotaro, because they all end up having their own first train.
Yeah, they all have their their locomotive train that is attached to the bike.
Momotaro's are based on the animals from the Momotaro story.
Oh.
So you have the turtle, the dog, the monkey, and I think a bird.
What about Urotaro's?
Urotaro's isn't part of that story. But
I'm talking about what are his cars?
He doesn't get an extra car. They basically all end up using Momotaro's.
Oh.
But his first one is a turtle, because that's what he's based on. And episode 9, we get to meet our third Imogen, Kintaros, who is a bear. He's a big yellow bear who sleeps a lot because of hibernation. He's also very strong, and he's
got an axe.
He has a big axe, and he is a nice guy.
Which is weird, because in terms of the actual look that he gives to the suit, this is one of my favorites in Den-O.
Yeah, I like the suit. It's just him as he isn't as interesting as a character.
No, and he's got that neck thing.
Yeah. I'll make you Nakerude. And anytime somebody says something about making somebody cry, they all panic because he just gets up. And he's super strong. So I love whenever Momo and Kintaros are fighting each other. It's always Momo just jumping on him and trying to hit him, but Kintaros just eh. I love it. They have a good dynamic. It's just the fact that Kintaros doesn't do a lot for...
He doesn't bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, he doesn't bring a lot to the table.
No. It doesn't hurt to have a good straight man every now and then.
Yeah. But I love whenever he ends up possessing Ryutaro. It's just funny. Once again, he gets a yellow streak. He ends up wearing...
like a jacket of some sort,
it's basically a kimono. Because he's a sumo wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love it. He's really strong, and he's honestly a lot more hilarious because he ends up putting Ryutaro in a lot more interesting situations aside from Urotaro's. I hate the fact that they didn't really give a big break between the Imogen introductions. No. Especially when it ends up coming to Uro and Kintaros.
But, I mean, when you only have this many forms, I guess you want to get them out as soon as possible.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about Rod next one. Not a big fan of Rod form.
No.
It's the eyes.
Yep.
And the fact that
and
the
face.
Suit... Yeah, the suit is weirdly sectioned off.
It's really... And it's also just oddly shaped.
Yeah. It really is. I'm just not the biggest fan of it. I like the fact that its main weapon is a staff, and that staff he uses throw. That was correct. He uses like throw and does a rider kick that way, which is
it's also a fishing rod.
It is a fishing rod. He does use it as that a few times. And axe form, you're right. It's definitely one of the better forms of the main one.
Mm-hmm.
I really like axe.
Does he ever use the axe on his face as a weapon? I can't remember.
A couple of times, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a waste if he didn't. But, yeah, I like axe form. It's a good form. Now, as I said earlier, when Erotaros came in, another Imogen possessed him at the same time, but that Imogen stayed in the background. This Imogen is called Ryutaros. It was a struggle trying to remember those two names because Ryotaro.
He's kind of my favorite.
I love when he possesses him because he's sort of special.
He is special. He's like the younger one of the bunch.
And the fact that they can't push Ryutaros out. So when he ends up coming in, he's not really a good guy. He's very destructive. He's much more ready to destroy things.
But it's not like in a sinister way. It's in a playful way. He kind of doesn't understand what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's got a great catchphrase. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Moving on, bye. And he always gets that hip hop outfit on. Yeah. Because he's a break dancer.
And I love when he comes in.
And his form as the Den-O is one of my favorites.
But I love he is like possessing these street dancers.
Oh yeah.
And he like snaps his fingers and they all come out and like start dancing and everything. And it's actually him doing the dancing. So he's like over there break dancing and stuff like that. And I love the purple streak in his hair. But he stops in the being like so destructive as he ends up meeting Irie. Right. Because he like immediately falls in love with like Irie or something. And so it's like the weirdest thing because he's in Ryotaro's body. But I love his character. He's a lot of fun. He's very excitable. And him and Naomi, when they're in the thing, because you see them in the background doing a lot of stuff, like just doing random dances and things like that, they're just honestly hilarious. Let's talk about his form.
Gun form is honestly one of my favorites.
Purple, great color.
Great color. And it's like red, but it folds out to reveal purple. And he's got the speakers, which look cool. And it's a gun, which just makes it more efficient because it's like, I'm going to keep...
I love that version of the opening. Because it's a lot more like actual...
I like to point out that in gun form, it's a pistol. But when he has his own gun as an Imagine, it's like a fucking shotgun.
It is. It's huge. It's very, very big. But yeah, I like him. The thing about this, though, he has a ticket. But he said that somebody sent him to Ryotaros to try to actually destroy him.
Was it Past Man?
No.
Oh.
We'll talk about that because you're getting to a point that I felt like when the story came in, that would have been a much better thing to do. Because his whole thing is he wants to destroy Ryotaro, but then that stops being a thing after he ends up meeting Irie. Let's go ahead. I need to get to... Alright, so that was episode... I am so lost right now. That was episode 13.
Jeez.
Now in episode 17, because as I said, this show was very, very Victim of the Week heavy. But in episode 17, we end up getting to meet our secondary writer, Yuto Sakurai, who, I will say this is the kid who came in and ruined Hibiki. He had a lot to make up when it came to the other half of this show.
I don't mind his form and his Imagine are cool.
Well, we're talking more about him as a character right now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to give him something.
But yeah, he had a lot of ground to make up because it's only been, 2 years since his appearance in Hibiki. And a lot of people hated him. But he's a much better character in this. And his Imogen, Deneb, who is the nicest guy.
He's great.
He's so sweet. And I love when he ends up possessing Yuto because their personalities are so different. And he always ends up trying to be super nice and telling him that, Yuto wants friends and Yuto always beats him up. And I'm just like, yay.
I like his actual suit.
Yes, let us go ahead and talk about his suit form.
He's got 2 tracks on his face because dose.
Yes.
And he's got the 2 tracks that become one that go down his chest, which is cool.
Yeah. It's alti-air form.
Yeah. And his weapon is a giant sword, which is also fun.
And it turns into a crossbow. Now, the way that he ends up having to transform, though, because this is something that's almost unbearably obvious. He is the Past Man, and the Past Man is, an older version of Yuto, and that Past Man was also...
my head already hurts.
Irie's fiance.
My head hurts.
And he's the one who gave her the telescope. But there was an issue where she ended up losing her memory that ends up being a reason for that later on.
And he gets a gun. Doesn't he get a gun form or something?
That happens much later.
Okay.
But sure Altair form is very good. I love the green. Green is a great color, especially for this form.
Yeah.
And Vega form is when Deneb ends up possessing him, and he gets gigantic gun shoulders.
And a giant cape.
Yes, capes are cool. But yeah, Vega form is also very good. I love like the base forms in this show. They all look very good.
No, yeah.
But some are better than others. Rod form is definitely not my favorite. But yeah, the tickets that he ends up using tickets to transform, but he has a limited amount of tickets.
Mm-hmm.
So he will end up running out of those sooner or later. Actually, we'll go back 2 episodes really quickly, because in episode 15 and 16 is the episode in the bathhouse where some criminal ends up coming into them and like trapping them inside the bathhouse, and Ira just shows up because that's the nature of this show. And the guy who owns the bathhouse is Mega Red.
Oh yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, is that one of my favorite people ever? It is! And I was super happy.
That one of my favorite people ever.
I mean, it's true. We're going to go ahead and move on to episode 23. Now, some Imogens are different than others. In this case, when an Imogen takes possession of a pregnant lady, and that pregnant lady's wish is to keep the child safe, that wish doesn't make them go into the past, because the Imogen ends up going to be attached to the child, so they don't have a past to go to. So, in this case, we end up getting introduced to Sieg. And I love when Ryotaro ends up getting possessed by Sieg. He is honestly hilarious. He ends up getting feathers in his hair. Because of the way that he was, Ryotaro brought him onto the Denliner, because that's what Ryotaro does.
Yeah.
And he likes animals, so Sieg is just a big bird to him. As you do. But I love Sieg. Sieg is just infamous. He's super proper. He thinks everybody's below him. And the strangest thing is, because of the special property that he was born, when he possesses Ryotaro, nobody can push him out.
So he's pretty much Excalibur from Soul Eater.
Yes. Like, no one can push him out. And he also ends up giving us a new form.
Wing form.
Which
is pretty cool.
I like the yellow as the base.
Yeah.
Like the gold yellow as the base.
The gold yellow, the winged eyes are cool.
Yeah. The axe and the boomerang.
Oh, yeah. It's a very odd assortment of weapon, but still cool.
And he ends up getting his own, special belt, too. We haven't even talked about the belt.
Well, the belt, it gets more like a belt cover, but yeah.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about the belt, though.
It's kind of simple in design, but
it's simple, but
it's based off the ticket scanner, which is cool. A friend of ours has one. Actually, 2. He has 2.
Oh, okay.
One, he bought 2. One so he could actually wear it and play with it, and one to keep in box, because he's that kind of guy.
And, it has the buttons on the side.
You hit the button, you scan the ticket.
Yeah, it's good. I like this.
Yeah, this is honestly one of my favorites, too.
Alright, now, here's where we end up running into a problem, and this is something that we're actually going to be talking about more next week.
Lack of plot?
No. Episode 25, for the next 3 episodes, go see our movie. Go watch it. You should go watch our movie. Are you seeing our movie? Are you in our movie right now? You should be seeing our movie. I heard you haven't seen the movie yet. You should watch the movie. It's all constantly the movie.
Remember that was Funimation's slogan?
Yeah.
You should be watching. That was Den-O. You should be watching our movie. Did I mention we have a movie?
You're not wrong. Because next episode, next couple things is just constantly taking various Ryotaros at a time to go to the climax of the movie and everything. Yeah, it's just go see the movie. And the movie ends up having, because this is a movie that's actually in continuity with the show itself, the way the movie ends up working is that, he forgets the Imogens, the other 3 except for Momotaro's. So they almost end up disappearing. And okay, let's talk about this. Episode 28 is when we get the introduction to Climax. Let's talk about the form first, and then we'll go into the reasoning behind the form. Climax form is okay. I'm not a big fan of the fact that we have the asymmetrical shoulders.
Yeah. I honestly hate Climax form. It reminds me too much of Gokai Silver Gold mode, and that looks fucking awful.
Yeah, it's he has Urotaros on one shoulder, Kinderos on the other, and Ryotaros in the center. And Momotaros is the only one who's there. The biggest problem I have with this is because of the way the show sets this form up, it happens so quickly. Because like right at the movie, he ends up sort of forgetting the time that he fought the Imogines, and that sort of took them off of his.
That's also for remember that he gets it from a cell phone.
Yeah, because when the other three Imogines more or less disappear,
they had to call him.
Like they turn into dust, and then like the dust turns into a phone for some apparent reason, and then he slides onto the
ultimate ticket,
the belt, and
opens it.
Yeah, and it ends up turning into climax.
Honestly, I don't like this. Like, I especially hate this. That actually might not be with.
That's not it.
Okay, I know that's not the form, but I don't know if he gets that weapon.
He does.
Yeah, I hate that sword.
We'll talk about that later.
I hate the sword. Oh
but
my God.
The biggest issue I end up having with this is the fact that this all happens in the span of one episode.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It felt like this
so rushed.
Especially just because of the emotional attachment that, especially Momo at the end, really ends up showing for this. It feels like when the other three are disappearing, that there isn't enough time to really dwell on that.
No.
It just happens so fast. And I really, really don't like that. It feels like something that definitely could have been stretched out, could have shown a lot more. It just would have been better if they did something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. Give me a second.
You okay?
Yeah. I'm checking. Okay.
You good?
Please tell me I pressed record. I did.
Audio only episode.
It wouldn't be the first one.
I know.
But yeah, it's just like for something like this, with the emotional impact that they really tried to push onto it,
it didn't really hit.
Didn't hit home.
It didn't land.
This all happens in episode 28. Like, yeah, I know we end up getting the movie as a lead up, but it's just like the after effects of it. That should have been structured. Really
Speaking of which, go watch that movie.
What movie?
I was making a joke.
Oh. Have you seen it yet? I just want to make sure. The movie. But yeah, Climax Form, I'm not the biggest fan of it. If only
I fucking hate it.
It's just,
but I don't hate the movie.
Weirdly asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's still honestly the final forms. Any final form in this show, I kind of hate.
I'm a much bigger fan of the second final form because this is the Imogene's final form.
True.
I'm a much bigger fan of the second one
because it actually doesn't involve them possessing him.
Yeah. Now Yuto has been using a lot of his cards.
Yeah.
So he's getting low on that, and there's this whole thing where Deneb really cares for Yuto. Also, we didn't talk about his train.
Oh yeah, he gets a train.
He gets a bull. Shit. And there's this whole thing where actually that bull was supposed to be destroyed in the timeline that Hana came from. Doesn't happen though. Or it got taken out of time because that was the original Yuto Sakurai's train. And he took it and gave it to the past Yuto Sakurai, which is the one who was actually Zeronos. Now, Deneb loves Yuto. That's like his main thing. He really does. And Deneb is so worried about the fact that the more the tickets that he uses, the less people remember him. And which is a definite major problem just for Deneb, because Deneb doesn't want to forget him himself. So he ends up basically just doing that. He goes to Ryotaro trying to become his Imogen so Yuto can't transform anymore.
Yeah.
And I love this. It gives a lot more character development for Deneb and just his devotion to this guy, that he cares so much about. And I love Deneb as a character. He's overboard, yes. But he's also just like one of the best characters in this show.
Yeah.
All right, now going...
And the movie.
Watch it. Now, episode 33, there was another, train that when they went past it, they saw it. It's, in the middle of a cliff. And it's, spiraled and they can't get to it. Apparently, that's the future that Hana came from. Now, behind the scenes, her actress got sick, like Hiyori from Kabuto.
Or like me last week.
That too. But we didn't replace you.
True. You did not replace me with a younger model.
Yeah, they basically end up saying that because this thing is coming in, there's sort of wibbly wobbly time behind me. And she gets turned back into a child.
And this is where Den-O hit, a wall for me.
Yeah, I liked Hana. As a character, she was fine.
She was fine. Then she turned into a child, and you know how child actors are.
She's actually not the worst.
She's not the worst, but still.
Yeah.
From this point on, I was kind of done with Den-O.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be real honest. That was a lie. I was done with Den-O long before this.
But yeah, it's just like
so bored.
It's just wasn't like I loved everything because a lot of this show ends up focusing on the images, and the images are funny. So and their thing, and there's that one part I think it was after one of the movies where apparently Hana is not a fan of Momotaro's like at all. Or really any of them except Ryutaro's. But there's one scene where they were both, it was after Climax Form came in, and they were, Hana's in the other section like crying, and Momotaro's comes in and is about to start crying too. And then Momotaro's like, I'm gonna tell everybody you're crying instead of me. And so he goes in there, and Hana just comes in and punches him through a wall. He gets punched outside of Denliner. It's one of the funniest things. But yeah, this is where the show sort of ends up becoming a problem. But that doesn't happen for another couple episodes. Let's talk about episode 36. Because there's been an issue where because of this time, like the future timeline that's slowly coming and getting in contact back with the Denliner, every time they go into the past, Momo and the others can't possess Ryotaro for that. Ryotaro. It's so hard. Ryotaro for that long because that timeline is messing with them. So because of that, they end up having to create a new form for Ryotaro to fight by himself in the past because the image can still possess him in the present. Yeah. But in the past, they give him liner form.
Still don't like it.
I actually like this one. It looks a lot better.
It looks better than Climax Form. I will give you that.
Yeah.
My issues with it is the spoiler on the head.
Which makes complete sense because this is a liner form. This is a trained form.
I get it. It's still stupid.
I honestly like it. You know what it actually reminds me of? Just looking at it because of all the red. Fi's Blaster.
I didn't like Fi's Blaster.
I did.
I'm sorry, that costume design was lazy as shit.
I liked it. But that's also because that was
let's also just point out the fact that he has headlight boobs.
He does have headlight boobs. He will see you coming at chest level. But he will see if you saw the movie.
And he gets a sword with all the Imagine's faces on it so you can watch the movie 5 times.
Yeah. I do not like this sword. It's bulky.
It's stupid.
It's so bulky.
Like, shield swords are cool. Like, with Auto Ranger. Yeah. But that is just stupid. Also, what's with the handle at the bottom? Do you pull it?
Pull it?
Pull it, bop it, cut it.
Now, as we said earlier, Ryutaro's was sent by a guy to go and destroy Ryotaro. It's hard. Now, this guy is Kai, Ultraman Orb. So,
for a split second, thought you actually screwed up.
Nope. That was the joke. Because his name in Ultraman Orb is Guy. And his bad guy name here is Kai. And he was Ultraman Orb. But yeah, this fixes and creates a problem for Den-O.
But what does it do more of?
Creates one.
Thank you.
Because, as I said, Den-O didn't really have a plot. It was mostly just Imogen Possessions person. Got to go beat the Imogen movie. And then they go and then various forms.
And then another movie.
Yeah, that comes later. And then, but we end up getting something like this, and Kai
hasn't seen the movie, so he's automatically
the worst. But he's also a sadistic bastard. But this show, I felt like if they would have just kept it as much more of a character-focused show instead of introducing Kai and actually having Passman be a lot more of a thing, it would have been a lot better. Because after a little bit, Kai isn't that interesting as a character, especially because he comes in episode 37 of a 49-episode show.
Seriously.
But in episode 40, Yuto finally ends up using his Now, in episode 40, Yuto ends up using his last card.
Womp womp.
And that causes Airi to basically just lose any memory that she had of this Yuto, not of the previous one. She doesn't have any memory of him at the moment. But we end up getting, because of that, basically he can just start using the cards over and over again. It was mostly just a thing to just make sure that people don't start losing his memories of him.
Yeah.
But in this case, we end up getting the debut of Zerono's Zero form, which is a rust color form that gets a net gun. It's alright form.
I'm not a fan of the rust color, but I like the concept. And
I think the more I look at it, the more I like it.
It's not terrible. I will miss the green, the original.
It's a recolored Volterra form, to be fair.
True. But I will miss the original.
I like it though. I think it's fine. But yeah, as we said, since we end up introducing Kai, we do end up having an issue. And that issue is the fact that Kai is just a thing. Because he wishes he was so much more interesting than he was, but because of the fact that he just came so exuberantly late in the show, in a show that really didn't have that much of a plot, and then they really tried to force one in.
Yeah, they really... And it didn't work at all.
Yeah. It's weird, because you can make a parallel here to Black.
Yeah.
Because of when Shadow... Like, they had a plot, more or less, but when Shadow Moon shows up is when the show really takes off.
This is kind of the opposite.
This is when the show hit the brakes. It got confusing for a little bit because Kai is like the center of the Imogens, but at the same time he's not the center of the Imogens, and he has the Leo Imogen. Also, the Leo Imogen can spawn like little foot soldiers, and those foot soldiers are the Zek troopers recolored.
Boo. Boo.
Yeah.
Also, did I mention boo?
Yeah. And because Kai is like the center of the Imogen, with the defeat of him, that means all the Imogen could disappear. And yeah, I'm just getting more and more upset the more I think about it.
This show could have been good.
Yeah. It's like just the literal issue of the Imogens being so attached to Kai just sort of makes... Because he's also a singularity point, just like Hana and Ryotaro are, but in a different way. And out a little bit, we end up having to go and like actually fix Airi's memory to try to figure out exactly what happened between her and Sakurai. And apparently Kai went back in time to try to kill her or their parents. It's really weird. He tried to kill her to get rid of Hana as a singularity point, which would have messed everything up. And then he also tried to kill Ryotaro in a different time to also try to do that at the same time. It's really, really strange. Also, past bandits are coming back, and they actually end up fighting with him as Altera form Zeranos. Mm-hmm. It just... And over the next couple episodes, you think that the Imogens constantly end up sacrificing themselves to just try and actually do something. And they make it seem like Urotaro's betrayed them and got Kai and the others into the train, but it was all a plan set up, and there's this fight between Urotaro's and Momotaro's that just feels too mean for what it was.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good.
No.
And then the last episode, they finally end up, ending Kai. And Momo, he thinks that all of the Imogens have disappeared, and all the other Imogens end up disappearing as well. There's also two other characters a character and a train that we didn't mention. It's the station train, which is a huge train that houses all the actual other trains. And there's also the station master, who was owner,
but not
hype owner. Owner is always very subdued,
very calm,
and he always ended up having these little things. He does this dance with Ryutaros at one point that is just great. But yeah, it's the whole thing with this. And then having the station master, and apparently the station master. Let me just go ahead and read this. As Owner explains to the station master that memories are time, Ryotaro and Yuto's images about their memories about their Imogens support their existence. So they were no longer tied to Kai; they were being tied to Yuto and Ryotaro. It's just so strange. The ending of the show, they end up focusing so much on Airi in the way that I honestly don't like. I'm going to sneeze and I can feel it coming and it's awful. I was prepared. I saw the movie. But
wrap this shit up.
Yeah, it's just like the ending of the show was just so confusing.
And kind of just didn't really match the tone of the rest of the show.
Yeah, it really didn't.
No.
It took a lot of the fun out.
Like, you can have a comedy show with a plot that doesn't suck, and you don't have to shoehorn it in more than halfway through.
Look at Car Ranger.
Look at Car Ranger. I don't like Car Ranger, but god damn it, I know how to do a comedy show, right?
Yeah.
And the comedy was good. The show was funny at times.
Yeah.
I love the very first moment. I love the fact that he's in a goddamn tree, still on the bike, and he's like, how the fuck did this happen?
Yeah.
It's great. But then you gotta remember it's a show. And you can't just keep doing the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over.
But then you end up adding a problem in Kai. And just try to make the show way too serious. Because Kai was a sadistic bastard. And it's just like, you didn't
And that
fit.
doesn't fit in the show.
Yeah, you don't fit.
But those are mainly our thoughts.
Like, I feel like if they would have just kept it, like, just not have Kai for one. And make it much more of a character study about trying to get Irie's memories back. And why the past man doesn't want her to have them back. And things like that. Like, something tragic could have happened.
Now, let's move on to characters, so then we can move on to the new segment that we're going to try out, which is...
commenting on comments.
Commenting on comments. Reading your comments, fan thoughts. Let's start with...
Ryotaro.
I liked him.
I love him.
He's a good main character.
Yeah.
Especially because he's kind of more relatable.
Yeah.
To
he's like,
the viewers.
What is happening? He's like, he really did not want to become Kamen Rider.
No, like, he's like... They're like, you need to fight the Imagine. And he's like...
Why?
And he's like, I don't wanna. I just
so
want to go
confused.
home.
Yeah, he was so confused about what was happening.
But once he got into it, he's like, all right, I'm stuck here. Let's do it.
And he becomes a much stronger character.
Oh yeah, this was absolutely a character building experience for him.
And Takeru Sato is just great.
Yeah.
He plays so many people in this show. Let's see how many people possess him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not into the movie.
What did you watch?
Different movie.
6
characters. He has to play 6 characters.
Yeah, counting himself.
7. He has to play 7 characters in this show.
I'd like to point out that's more different personalities than James McAvoy played in Split.
I was honestly going to think about that. I was thinking about I can never remember the name of the movie.
But
yeah. So yeah, I love him just as an actor, and I loved his character just because of the fact that he was very strong. Like, he wasn't the strongest fighter, but he has a couple times where he's like constantly tried to build himself up because the image sort of take a lot out of him, and after he's just like, I had to be stronger to support these people, so when we fight these images and protect these other people to be great.
He became better, a little bit bigger, definitely faster, and definitely stronger.
Harder.
Yes.
I had to tweak the song.
Anyway,
Momotaros.
He is fun.
I loved him.
He's great. He's terrible.
He's terrible.
In like the best, worst way possible.
It's like almost all the images are terrible people. And that makes him just that much funnier. I love it.
I mean, Yellow, I don't know all their names by heart. Yellow wasn't that most.
We'll come to him in a second. But Momotaro's just fun. He gets Ryotaro in trouble a lot.
He does, but he's also, you can tell he's kind of the most dedicated to what they're doing.
Yeah. And he's really dedicated to Ryotaro at the same time, too.
True. Let's go to Urotaros.
Urotaros, the ladies' man.
Not really a fan. I'm tired of the ladies.
Honestly, it works here because of the fact that he has to play off of this entire cast of people.
Very true.
It's that much funnier because they constantly, he'll push somebody
Let's also remember that the character of Urotaros is technically 2 actors. We have the voice actor, and we have the suit actor who's trying to give off that body language.
Yeah.
Which is...
That's for all of them.
These 2 people have to be in perfect sync.
Actually, a lot of the things that both the Imogens and the suit actors, like the voice actors and the suit actors do, a lot of the things were ad-libbed.
That's hysterical.
So, there are just some moments that are just honestly hilarious because of that. The whole penis conversation is still one of the funniest things because they do it all by not ever saying the word.
Because this is a kid show.
And it's always between Momotaros and Urotaros, and it's just the funniest thing. And I love it. I think they're honestly just 2 hilarious characters, and I love the addition of Urotaros because he's such a perfect foil for Momo.
Yeah.
Kintaros. Once again, it's still not my favorite.
He's not my favorite, but he's also he's that one person. He's the one of them who's not. When you have people whose personalities are always at like up to 10 or even 11,
he's sleeping.
You gotta have that one guy who kind of calms it down.
Yeah.
So or else you'll get exhausted.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Yeah. Kenjiro's is like he's fine, and
I understand that he was necessary.
He was definitely an unnecessary one because like he got into shenanigans too. It's also because he was clumsy, but he's perfectly fine as a character. He's just definitely not my favorite in this show.
No, but let's move on to the other one.
Ryutaros.
He's great.
It's so hard to get names correctly when two of them are almost the same damn thing.
He's great.
Ryutaros is the one. He's the kid.
He's the kid. He's the childish one who doesn't understand that his actions have consequences.
But I love
because he can't hear you.
You know, every single time he ends up possessing Ryutaro, it's hilarious. Nisha, Sugeja. And the dancers and everything, and just his personality, and then seeing him around Airi, and then seeing him on the actual train, especially because a lot of his time is spent with Naomi. Mm-hmm. Just doing random, like they're doing the Macarena at one point in the background while everybody else is arguing. They're just in the back, and I like we need to like props to the cinematography people because they're doing it like from this angle, so you can see them in the background.
It's great.
It's just he's
lots hilarious. Of great physical comedy in this show.
Yeah. Although we don't get to see him that often, I think we only get to see him like twice in the show. Sieg. We get to see him a lot more in the movies.
You fool. He's amazing.
No. Yeah, he's funny because he's so prim and proper and thinks he's better than you, and that makes him just funny because he like everybody else hates him except for Ryutaros because he thinks he's a bird. So, but I loved his dedication to. He was going to disappear because the baby wasn't going to remember him.
No.
So he was starting to go on to disappear, and then he got saved later on and got sent into the past, and that ends up being a thing for one of the movies.
Which we'll need to watch. Movies.
Watch them. But yeah, Sieg is a perfectly fine character. I really wish we would have got more of him.
Yeah.
We got...
Because then he adds on to the climax form. He gives him wings on the back.
Climax wing form, which is the thing is the Den-O Deco movie.
Yeah.
So, Yuto. I liked him.
Yeah.
Especially coming out, like...
He got better.
We have to constantly end up bringing up the fact that he was a Hibiki and he was the worst thing in Hibiki. But he's such a great character here.
Yeah.
Because, he tries to come off all, like, cool and, like, I'm better than you and, like, super tsundere and everything. But then Deneb's a thing. So, Deneb just, like, constantly ends up ruining that for him. He keeps getting possessed by Deneb. It's like, Yuto really wants friends. And then they end up fighting, or rather, Yuto, like, constantly tries to choke him. But I love their dynamic. I like Yuto as a character. He tries to come off super cool, but there are like a couple of times when he really expresses like childlike curiosity. Like there's this one part where they're decorating the cafe with like stars, and he's like putting up the constellations and everything. You like see the smile on his face where he's like super happy about the things that he's doing, and the Ryota points it out. It's like, I'm not doing that. What are you talking about? But
I'm not smiling. You're smiling.
Yeah, I like Yuto quite a bit. He's a great character, and we got to see him in the Superhero Tyson GP movie.
Good.
Let's talk about Deneb. He's the greatest.
He's the greatest.
He's so just the sweetest thing. He deserves all hugs. So he's super nice. He cares about Yuto, and he cared about him enough to go away from him when he uses his last card, nobody will remember him anymore.
Yeah,
it's just like I just appreciate Deneb as a character, and especially when he's like running around, he's always like this. So, but yeah, I love him. Deneb's a great, amazing character. We could talk about Hana, Kohana. She's fine. I really wish I would have kept the older one around, but we understand health issues. But yeah, I didn't really like the kid version either, especially because in one of the movies later, the kid version ends up having a fight with some adults and wins, and I'm just like, wow. Naomi's fine as a background character. Owner, though.
He just wants to keep that flag up.
He just wants to keep the flag up so much, whether it be fried rice or a flan. And he's just honestly a hilarious character because he's their straight man. Like, he has his quirks, but he's just so flat with it that makes it just that much funnier.
Yeah.
I appreciated his character because out of all the craziness that everybody else brought, he was sort of that calm.
I'm pretty sure that was, Marcus, your surprise face for at least 6 months at college. Just, anyway.
But yeah. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments.
We're not going to read all of them.
Yeah, we do have 2 other appropriate Den-O things.
And also, we're not... And the ones we do read, I may not read all of it because we wanted comments. We didn't want novels.
We'll read about 5%.
Yeah. My thoughts on Den-O can be summed up... This is from Darbeck. My thoughts on Den-O can be summed up in one word. Personality. While it might not have the most interesting story... All the characters just burst with personality every second they're on screen. From Momotaros and his hot-headedness to Deneb always trying to be polite and careful with his words. I feel the show is beloved by many and at least enjoyed by many others, all because of the characters.
I definitely agree with that.
I definitely agree with that.
You know, it's a much more character-driven show.
I'm going to read this one off because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's from Panda Dad. First of all, great name. He went, "What's Den-O? Let me look it up. Oh, they have a movie. 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 Oh, they have a movie."
I remember that. I remember seeing that
comment. I'm not going to keep reading all that.
You're not wrong.
This one's from J-Boss. Could not get past Den-O's first episode.
See, you made a mistake.
See, I can agree. I can understand that. This show is not for everybody.
Yeah, it's a hilarious show, though.
JKin62, I'm not going to read it because...
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Yeah. Novel. But thank you for the comment.
I'll actually read this one.
You sure?
Yeah, I'll read...
All of it?
I'll summarize it.
Okay.
I'll read like the first couple sentences.
Okay.
In terms of my pure subjective opinion, Kamen Rider Den-O was a season that excelled in characterization and overall fun, but was dragged down by the lack of story. And he has a point. He says that the villain wasn't introduced until around episode 20, but that was episode 37.
Which is even worse. I want to read off this one last one from KR Decade because I want to get somebody from the opposite end of the spectrum. Den-O is terrible. Got through a grand total of 12 episodes before getting very bored with this series. What happened to awesome series like Ryuki, Faiz, and Kabuto? Why did Toei feel this absolute need to replace great serialized story with 2-parters that don't end, forming an overarching plot? I like Momotaros, but beyond him, everyone else annoys me. This Kamen Rider tried to be Super Sentai and it fails.
He does have a point.
On another subject, take your time, guys. I'm grateful you all have fun. Yeah, he's talking about us directly. Anyway.
He does have a point.
Yeah.
This is a very Super Sentai-esque series.
Which is one of the reasons why I didn't really... I don't think it's awful, but I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, especially because of the multiple forms.
I thought Udotaros was annoying. I thought Momotaros got annoying at times. And
Kinderos is sort of just there in some cases, but Ryotaros is funny.
I'm not a great fan of episodic-based plots.
Especially because this one is like 2-part of the series. This started that, by the way.
Oh, yeah, this started the 2-part.
Well, it didn't really start it because Kabuto had them too, but it made them a lot more prevalent because it tied it to a victim.
Yeah.
And because of that, it ends up having an issue.
We will read other comments as Den-O month goes on.
Speaking of which, next week will be the Sarba Den-O movie and the Kiba Den-O movie.
Where Kiba doesn't show up in it at all.
And there's one more final... Let me go down to the sheer amount of movies that we have for this show.
Another movie.
Okay, so we have I'm Born and the Kiva movie, and then we'll do Final Countdown as its own one. We were going to do the Den-O Decade one, but that movie is basically a Cho Den-O movie, and we're going to have a review section just explicitly on
for Cho Den-O, yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be after Decade, before W.
Okay. But that's been our review of the main canon series of Kamen Rider Den-O with our new fan thoughts as to nice tie it off, which I'm kind of enjoying doing that. If you guys enjoyed as well, let us know in the comments below.
Put more things about the Rurouni Kenshin movies at Gekka Ranger because we're going to read those as one.
When we get there as well.
With those as well. Also, announcement. I haven't done this yet. This is something I'm actually going to have to make this week. We're going to start doing for the next few top 10s after the ones that we've already filmed. We're going to have like your favorite Sentai person, your favorite writer
fan favorite top 10.
Yeah, we're going to do the fan favorite top 10s to have those in here and have your voices be heard. So we're excited to start doing those soon.
We really do want to get you guys involved more.
Yeah. But yeah, next week, as I said, we have the movie. And the Kiva movie that he's barely... This is something we're going to talk about next week. Because
anyway,
it'll be fun.
As always, like, subscribe, follow us. Contribute if you can on Patreon, as always.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.